Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Alya Fadhilah Noh and I am from 11 Science 1 number 6. So right now I'm going to show you my explanation text, and I am also going to explain about a generic structure and language features of the explanation text that I have. So without further ado, let's see the explanation text. So here is my explanation text with title How Seawater Becomes Salty. This text is composed of 4 paragraphs, so if you want to read it, you can pause this video. If you have done reading it, let's move on to the generic structure of the text. There are 3 sections of the explanation text. First, general statement. The general statement is an area which contains general explanation of what phenomena to discuss. So in this explanation text, the general statement includes the first paragraph. 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered in water, and 97% of that is salty seawater. Only 3% of our planet's water is fresh, such as water in rivers, lakes, and streams. This fresh water plays a big role in explaining how the sea becomes salty. Water moves around our planet in a cycle powered by sun, from the sea to the sky to the land and then back to the sea. Second is a sequence explanation that explains the details of the process, why and how the phenomenon is happening. According to this text, a sequence explanation includes the second and third paragraph. When the sun hits the water in the sea, it changes into gas called water vapor and rises into the air through a process called evaporation. After that, the water vapor turns back into liquid water while floating in the air, forming clouds through a process called condensation. Then this water eventually falls from the clouds in the sky as rain, sleet, hail, or snow, in which the process is also called precipitation. When these forms of water fall on land, the water flows into streams and rivers and eventually makes its way back to the sea. Furthermore, the rain that falls from the sky contains small amounts of chemicals called carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, which makes the rain slightly acidic. This acid can absorb small amounts of mineral salts, including sodium and chloride. These mineral salts are dissolved from the rocks, which then enter the water. And the last one is closing, that is optional or not necessarily in this text. The section may contain additional information or the writer's opinion on the topic under discussion. Based on this text, it is include the paragraph 4 or the last paragraph. Thus, the main salt in the seawater is sodium chloride. The rainwater flows off the land and into the rivers and streams that lead all the way to the sea, carrying the dissolved salts along with it that makes the seawater salty. Now, let's move on to the language features of the text. First, this text uses simple present tense. Example, this fresh water plays a big role in explaining how the sea becomes salty. This acid can absorb small amounts of mineral salts, including sodium and chloride, and the rainwater flows off the land and into the rivers and streams that lead all the way to the sea, carrying the dissolved salts along with it that makes the seawater salty. Second, this text uses passive voice. Example, 2/3 of the Earth's surface is covered in water, and the mineral salts are dissolved from the rocks. Third, this text uses connective words. Example, after that, the water vapor turns back into liquid water while floating in the air, forming clouds through a process called condensation. And thus the main salt in seawater is sodium chloride. Last, this text is used technical terms. Example, evaporation, condensation, water vapor, rain, precipitation, sleet, hail, and snow. So that's all my explanation about this text. Thank you for your attention. Less and more, please be forgiven. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.